Some people take a really hard stance on makeup when it comes to their kids, and they ban it until those kids are old enough to use it properly. That's a topic that we're going to discuss in our first episode today, and I'd like to know what you think. G'day there guys, it's your main man Marky, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA asshole. Now, if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good stories. Let's go. Am I the asshole for asking my 12-year-old cousin why she wants to change the way she looks? So I'm 25 female and my cousin is 12 female. We come from a very close family, so I see her more as a little sister rather than a cousin. She's always been very into makeup and fashion. From 10, she wanted to try applying makeup, painting her nails, styling her hair, etc. I've always had the opinion that there's a fine line that shouldn't be crossed. For example, I wouldn't see painting her nails as an issue, but my auntie let her get acrylics at 10 years old, which I found ridiculous. I've never said anything as I don't think it's my place to do so, and if my auntie wishes to raise her daughter in that way, then I can't change that. But I've always been shocked at the things she lets her do. Over the past 6 months, it's been escalating. My cousin called me and asked me if I'd take her to get a piercing. She said her mum was allowing her to get a second lobe piercing on one ear. I said that if her mum approved, then sure. I took her, and in less than 6 months, she's ended up with 3 in each ear. She also had her other cousin put balayage highlights in her hair before she turned 12, which she told her dad was from lemon juice and the sun. I thought this was beginning to take it too far. She's also been allowed to get long acrylic nails and started wearing a lot more makeup and revealing clothing. It is currently school holidays, and my auntie's taken a few days off work to spend time with the kids. They came to our house for family dinner last night, and when my cousin walked in, I nearly fainted. She has completely bleached her beautiful natural hair to a brassy blonde color all over. She's also had extremely long acrylics put on, and to top it off, semi-permanent eyelash extensions applied. I obviously couldn't hide my shock because I could tell my auntie was offended by just the way I was looking. My cousin came over towards me and I said, "Why do you want to be blonde? You had such beautiful hair. You don't need to change yourself." Well, that caused the biggest fight I've ever had. My auntie went ballistic at me and stormed out of my house. She said I have problems and shouldn't have said anything. I genuinely wasn't trying to be rude. I was just shocked and actually concerned. My auntie is allowing my cousin to feel like the way she looks naturally isn't enough. Her 12-year-old friend has an eating disorder. I don't want my cousin to end up the same because she feels like the way she looks isn't good enough. Am I the asshole for saying something? Now in the comments, you're the asshole. Trying out new looks is a part of being young. Eating disorders are a whole different ballgame. And shaming someone and telling them they're doing something wrong for wanting to change how they look is not the way to help someone with body issues. This 12-year-old may need some guidance if she's wearing revealing clothes without understanding cultural context. But that conversation needs to happen with her mom. You're the asshole. You're also obsessing about her looks and thinking it's okay to superimpose your fine lines onto her. Back off. Also, it never works to try and talk/shame kids out of their choices. Lean in, understand where she's coming from, and why this is a passion of hers. My youngest sister did some absolutely terrible makeup and, interesting fashion choices when she was a tween/young teen. She's 18 now and has a fantastic frickin' handle on makeup and eye-popping outfits that are unique but still stylish. Horrible cat-style eyeliner is how you learn to do it right. Yeah, and if you don't get to try it out, then you end up like me, 26 and can't apply makeup to save my life. Aside from developing skill and talent, the piercings, hair coloring, makeup, clothing, etc. are all just forms of self-expression, and that's a really important thing, especially during the preteen years, as those can be really difficult for so many people. You're the asshole. At the end of the day, it's her body, not yours. Unless she's putting acid on her face or putting herself in danger, it is none of your business. Makeup can be a fun hobby. Nails can be a fun hobby. It's not about not feeling like how she looks is enough. It can be about adding to how you look and giving yourself confidence. Your body is a canvas to do what you want with, and makeup is a fun part of it. Why does she want to be blonde? Because it's a cool color. Why do people do anything? Because they want to. Hair is a cool form of expression. Earrings can come out, acrylic nails can come off, makeup comes off. Hair damage is definitely unfortunate, but it's no one else's choice but hers, and as long as her aunt is letting her know that that can do damage to her hair long term, why does it matter? Let her be. If you want to uplift her, tell her she looks beautiful no matter what she does. Don't judge her. Our next post is by user Am I the Arsehole the Groom? Titled, Am I the Arsehole for wanting more say in my wedding? So I know the common stereotype is that the woman plans the wedding and the man just shows up, but I actually want to get involved in planning this wedding. The problem is my fiancé often shoots down my ideas without even discussing it. Maybe my ideas wouldn't work in the end, but the fact that she refuses to even discuss so many of them really bothers me. Last time we argued about this, she told me my idea made no sense and that it wasn't even my decision to make. So my fiancé's decision was final and she wouldn't compromise. I told her how hurt I was and she said she was also hurt and upset that I made these suggestions. But I don't understand why she's mad at me. She's been making all of the decisions. Am I the arsehole for wanting some say in my own wedding? Now in the comments, Glaxonflux says, I really need to know the ideas she shot down before I judge, especially since you said in a comment that they were things done in other weddings and you're a bit of a traditionalist. That makes me think your suggestions involve sexist traditions like the bride being given away or including obey in your vows. Edit, just saw your response to another comment asking for details also. Quote, they're pretty normal ideas, things that you commonly see at weddings. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. The things we argued about today was my fiancé wanting to have both her parents walk her down the aisle and having 4 flower girls and a couple flower boys. We aren't doing ring bearers because we don't trust little kids to carry rings, and if you give them fake ones, it seems kinda pointless. I don't like these ideas and asked to go the traditional route or have a compromise, but my fiancé won't. Look, 1. You don't get to decide who walks her down the aisle. 2. Sounds like your issue with the flower kids is that she dare go against the traditional gender norm of only having flower girls. As long as the boys don't mind, it's really silly for you to require a sexist tradition. If these are the kinds of things you're suggesting, you're the asshole. And OP replies, it's not like that, it's stuff like 1. I want her to pick one of her nieces to be a flower girl with my niece. 2 flower girls max is fine, but she wants all her nieces to be flower girls, and her nephews to be flower boys. I said they don't all need to be involved, and she said they do. 2. She wants both her parents to walk her down the aisle. I mentioned that the only times I've seen that is when the parents are divorced, and the mum would feel left out if only her ex got to do it. Of course, people who know her well would understand why she's doing it, but she doesn't know everyone who's coming, and they might just jump to conclusions. What kind of conclusions are you thinking people would jump to? That her parents are divorced? Oh, so scandalous! That she's Jewish? If I remember correctly, it's traditional for both sets of parents to walk their kids up in Jewish wedding ceremonies. You seem like you're clinging to tradition and things you commonly see at weddings, without considering how hurtful those things can be. And OP replies, she is Jewish, so it's fine if people think that. The ceremony isn't Jewish though because we are both atheists. Wait, do you dislike the idea of allowing religious traditions in your life as an atheist? Because as a fellow atheist, I personally believe that's an issue within yourself. We can respectfully coexist. And OP replies, it's just that most people coming aren't Jewish, so they wouldn't understand the tradition. When my cousin got married, she had both of her parents with her down the aisle because her dad had kinda been a deadbeat. She didn't want to walk with just her dad because it would be rude to her mom, who raised her. and she didn't want to leave out her dad because he had apologized and was trying to make up for not being around before. I don't want my extended family who don't know my fiance's family to get the wrong idea. Look, man, I mean, who cares what they think? Your cousin had who she wanted with her. It could be for any reason. It is such a meaningful thing for your wife that most people aren't going to think twice about it or even remember. Regarding the walking down the aisle, this is really not for you to decide. She gives herself to you and wants both her parents to be witnesses and wants them to give her away. I really like this idea of hers. Why don't you like it? It has nothing to do with you. The flower girls and boys, do you just not like the number or the thing itself? She could definitely compromise on that one. And OP replies, I think there are too many kids first of all, and the boys don't need to be throwing flowers. That's just strange. My fiancée said she wasn't going to explain why most of the kids weren't picked, and I said we can't just give kids whatever they want in case they'll have a tantrum. The more I'm reading your comments, the more I'm being convinced that you're the asshole. What exactly is wrong with boys throwing flowers? And OP replies, nothing. But that's just not what I want for my wedding. There's nothing wrong with beach weddings either, but I still don't want one. I think we should compromise and have one niece from each side of the family as flower girls. 2 is enough, and it can represent the joining of families. So by compromise, you mean she should agree to do it the exact way you want. I'm guessing that the extra flower girls and boys that won't be part of the wedding if you get your way are on her side of the family. Am I right? And I love this guy's view of things. Compromise means doing the thing he wants. His ideas being shot down are him saying no to things that she wants. The only idea he has had is adding a bunch of labor for his fiancée to do before the wedding because that will make it more personal. Our next post is by user PurpleWolf4362, titled, Am I the asshole for telling a lie in therapy to get my dad and stepmom to leave me alone? So I, 16 female, did something in frustration, but I'm starting to feel guilty about it. When I was 12, my mum died in an accident. It was so sudden, and I was completely in shock and disbelief because I had literally saw her happy and healthy that same morning. It was rough on my dad and I, especially during that first year. However, I thought we were starting to find a new decent normal. What I didn't know is that 6 months after we buried my mum, my dad was dating again. It was a friend from work who had 2 kids of her own, and I was officially introduced to her as the girlfriend when I was 14, and they got married when I was 15. We also moved into another house because the house that my dad and I had wasn't big enough. I was not happy and tried to get out of going to the wedding, but I was made a junior bridesmaid. I was miserable and it showed. Everyone was so ready to be a family, but I put up walls and would only do stuff with them when I couldn't use homework or illness as an excuse. It was basically, if you're well enough to hang with friends, you can hang with us. My maternal aunt didn't live too far, and we talked regularly. I opened up to her once, and she convinced my dad to let me spend a long weekend with her. It was great, and I felt a sense of relief. When the pandemic first hit, the thing that I felt more sad about is that I couldn't get away and be with my aunt because she worked in the medical field. I got so depressed that I actually cried about it. I think someone overheard because my dad and stepmom decided to do therapy, but only I had to attend. I didn't really want to, but they pushed for it, and eventually I opened up about feeling sad that I felt so closed off from my family. Big mistake admitting that, because my dad brought up that my stepmom and siblings were here, which sparked an argument. It was just the 3 of us, plus the therapist, but I'm pretty sure my stepmom told her kids, because they started asking why I never saw them as family. My stepmom even admitted to feeling hurt, while my dad said that I should try harder to accept them because they accepted me. It felt like I was getting it at all ends, and then one day, after being asked for the millionth time, I blurted out a lie about how I knew my dad and stepmom were happy that my mum was dead because they were having an affair. They were shocked and denied this, but I saw my window and made a big fuss about it. Everyone is starting to back off, and it felt great getting some space, but now that I see how hurt my dad is, the guilt is starting to sink in. Am I the arsehole, and should I come clean about my accusation being a lie? Edit to add, I keep seeing this in the comments, so I just wanted to set the record straight on a couple of things. 1. My dad's wife is the friend from work that I was talking about. 2. I've been going to therapy just for a little bit. She's a family therapist and my dad and his wife has been present the whole time. 3. I also resented how I wasn't given the option to opt out like my stepmom's kids. And 4. The therapist has mentioned me possibly getting one-on-one sessions. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I think I'm the arsehole because I lied to get what I want. I'm also starting to feel a little guilty because I hurt my dad's feelings. Now in the comments, Arthur's adult diaper says, it might have been true. That entire relationship and their reaction seems extremely suspicious. An innocent couple who cared about their child/stepchild would react exactly the same way though. There would be a panicked reevaluation of, wait, this is what's been going on in her head? How the F do we handle this? Plus remorse at never having realized that this was the issue. Dad and stepmom must be questioning everything now. What else don't they know about OP? How could they not have seen that this wasn't, they think, just garden variety non-acceptance, wondering if others in the family think this too, etc., etc. I don't think you can draw anything about the truth or otherwise of this from their response. And Quirky Bumblebee 461 says, you were getting a lot of bad advice in this post. People telling you it's okay to make up accusations. Your dad and stepmom put you in therapy ostensibly to try to help you. Honestly, if they had posted on the internet about what they should do if their child or stepchild was sad and didn't like the new family, the advice would have been, get them a therapist. I think you probably do believe deep down that your dad is happy that your mum is dead. You probably think, how else would he be able to be happy with a new wife and date 6 months after her death? Accusing him of an affair without reason is not cool, but your accusation probably did come from a place of real feelings. So yes, you should talk to your therapist about it, and when you're ready to articulate your feelings, you should talk to your family about it. Our next post is by user NoRisk7532. Titled, Am I the arsehole if I don't use the AC when my nephew is over? So I work as a teacher, so I have a lot of time with nothing to do during the summer. On account of this, I take care of my nephew sometimes during the summer for my brother. I don't mind it and I like spending time with the kid. Recently, my brother found out that I never use the AC at my house. If I feel I need to cool down, I just do what I've done since forever. I lay down on the cool tile and place a bag of ice on my neck. I've literally done this since I was a teen, and my brother knows this. So instead of turning on the AC, I just have my nephew do the same thing. I got a call from my brother that I shouldn't have to do that anymore, especially having my nephew do it. It works really well though, and I just don't like the AC. Am I the arsehole if I choose not to have the AC on when my nephew is over? Now in the comments, 7 That's a Nope says, how hot does it get in your house? How old is your nephew? And OP replies, at the moment it's like 90s to low 100s outside. I don't know the inside temperature though. And he's 9. Edit to add, you said in another comment that it gets into the 100s outside, and you don't know how hot it gets inside. If you never run the AC, it very possibly gets well into the 90s or even hundreds inside. It could be even hotter inside than it is outside. If you want to lay on the floor with ice, that's your business. But to subject a 9-year-old to such misery when it's easily avoidable, you have AC and you said you can afford to run it, is ridiculous and unhealthy. If you continue to refuse to turn on the AC, hopefully your brother will put the well-being of his son first and will have someone else watch him. Hopefully that is even an option for him since childcare is expensive. Your brother is right to be upset that you're making a decision to subject his son to easily avoidable suffering. You're the arsehole. You could make an electric-free air cooler for your windows out of plastic bottles and cardboard to help with the rest of your house if you want to limit your AC use. Your nephew may even enjoy making it with you. But really, you have to do something when he's over. You know how uncomfortable school buildings can get. Why should he have to deal with it in the summer too, just because you're cheap? You're the asshole. A 9-year-old in 90 degrees Fahrenheit / 32 degrees Celsius plus heat. That's just cruel, especially since you can afford to run the AC. Also, OP has been conditioning their body to tolerate that sort of heat since they were a kid. I think the big question here for OP is, how does the nephew feel? Does he ever feel dizzy, overheated, nauseated? Does he think it's fun, or does he complain? You're the asshole. It's ridiculous to think what works for you would work for someone else. No fan? You said in another comment it's 90 to 100. It is absolutely a health risk for this kid. Could you at least have a room with AC? For my judgment, I never had AC in my own place. Then I got a cat. Where I lived, it could be 100 to 110 in my apartment. I got an AC, so he has options. It wasn't for me. That's what you do when you have a heart. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, AmITheA. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.